Kia ora, Glyn. How are you today?
I'm well. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Where are you joining us from?
Oh, I'm in. I've kicked Prue out of the Home Office, and I've snuck in. So, lucky me. And I've taken some. Credits. No, I've taken you some credit. A withdrawal in the relationship bank. So here we go.
Oh, yeah. You're exchanging the office. So, you're based in Frankton?
Yes, based in Frankton. Yes, live in Frankton. Yeah. Just moved from Frankton to Frankton. Yes.
Well, that's the best place to be.
Of course, it's the up-and-coming suburb of where all the movers and shakers are, so why not?
So, listen, just for listeners, you've been on council now for 2 terms, is that correct?
2 terms, one as a councillor, and obviously the first term here as Mayor of Queenstown Lakes.
And what's made you decide to run again?
Oh, I've got a fair few things I want to get done. Obviously, the regional deal stuff, I'd really like to see that through. And that's probably the main motivator. It's just so close to actually achieving some of those strategic things that, look, we looked at in our first term as councillors. But yeah, it's so tantalisingly close. I just like to see that through.
Okay. And what do you think, I guess, has gone well for you? Maybe last term and this term. And how have those terms been different? I mean, obviously you've been in a different position, but maybe you could also just talk a little bit about how those terms have been different for you in your experience.
Yeah, so obviously being a councillor is like you look at what was Jim then as the mayor, and you think, oh, yeah, he's just being a councillor, but it's full time. But then when I moved into the mayoral role, look, it's a completely different position from a councillor. Yes, you do the stuff that councillors do, but instead of it being a part-time, you do the work as a councillor and you turn up and you make the decisions at council meeting. And your councillor work is quite tough and it's quite time-consuming. But for the mayoralty, it's like that again on steroids, plus a lot of other interactions. You're called upon a lot more. Pretty much every day, every hour. You never clock off unless you're on holiday, and that's outside of the district because you have to get outside of the bubble. It's probably a little bit more lonelier, I'll say that. And yeah, so what went well in the first term? Look, learning experience. That first year, I think, for any new councillor, it's just learning the ropes and the ins and outs, the legislation we sit under. Oh my God, it's a straitjacket, and with this government, it just seems to be that the buckles of that jacket are getting heightened up even more. Geez, it was such a long time ago, Esther. Lots happened since then.
So what's gone well for you this term?
Oh, this term, I think seeing like the climate and biodiversity plan evolve into a better place than what it was. Seeing Mount Iron become part of Queenstown Lakes land holdings, seeing Project Tohu. That's been awesome to see that kick off. So that's the largest reforestation project in the Southern Hemisphere. So that's recloaking Coronet Peak. But the one event that's really touched me over the last 3 years was Waitangi Day, when Queenstown Lakes hosted Waitangi Day on of this year. And it wasn't, once all the forfeiting was over and all the formal stuff was over, what really got me was I was just sitting back, I was talking to someone, and then I gazed over to the crowd. I think we had a young school group doing the kapa haka. We had a whole bunch of the community in the recreation ground watching it, really enjoying themselves. And for about 15 minutes there, that was just, that filled my cup, that one. That was pretty special, that one.
Awesome. It wasn't just because Jason Mamo was there then?
Oh, no, I think he'd left by that stage. all the let's say, mums were getting into them, making sure they were getting noticed by Jason. And it was my mother also had to keep her away from Jason as well. So, yeah, no, a few weren't backward and coming forward in meeting Jason. Yeah.
So, obviously, you're one of 12. around the table of elected members. And what do you think are, I'll ask you this in two parts. What do you think are the qualities and characteristics that are important for elected members to hold, both for councillors, and I think it's important to make the distinction for the mayor as well. So what characters and qualities do you find important?
I'll start with councillors first. And look, it doesn't happen 100% of the time. We're all human. I think the openness to compromise. I think if you can walk into a meeting and have that front and centre, and look, being respectful and actually figuring out how the way to work amongst each other. And look, we don't get it right 100% of the time, but honestly, we do actually get it right most of the time, let's say. But that willingness to compromise, if you're not willing to compromise, then I think it's going to be it's a hard 3 years if you're stuck in your own personal frame and you're not willing to, there's some things that's core belief and you don't want to move from, but be open to different points of view and being willing to compromise. As a mayor, it's different again. Your views are probably not as, they're probably not expressed as much during meetings. A lot of the mayor's work's done prior to the meeting. Like, it's more about, yep, that's okay, we can shape it that way. Yep, I'm happy with putting that forward. You're more, I won't say conductor, but you're hoping that a meeting flows freely, and sometimes you do have to be a bit of the stern schoolmaster sometimes to keep things flowing, because, as you're well aware, 5-hour meetings was the last one? Was it 1 to 7? 6 hours. They can be a bit draining, and you have to be on top of it 100% of the time, because things can unravel quickly, because we're all human and we all got strong opinions. So it's it's been interesting, and you evolve over it. Like, I'll probably chair a meeting completely different now than what I did way back in the early days. And again, going back to your first year learning as a councillor, I'll admit, your first year learning as a mayor as well. That's not just those skills. Yeah, you've got a base set of skills, but there's different skills you've got to learn, and it's an odd, I wouldn't say it's an odd role in that way. It's not repeatable, and you don't get a certain cadence with it. There's no routine to it, let's say. So that's the bit of I struggled with at the beginning, given that coming from a engineering job where it's just 9 to 5 and you one project to the next, to the next, to the next. I always joke that having kids taught me patience, but being the mayor has probably taught me more patience than having children. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so patience is probably a characteristic or a quality that we can name. What other qualities or characteristics do you think are important? Because what you outlined there is useful, but it kind of describes some of the processes as well, and how we interact. So let's think about kind of leadership, and
you just got to be open to different.
And the fact that we need to deliberate around the table. What characteristics and qualities do you think are important for elected members and for the mayor to hold then?
Yeah, just open to different views. There's been an occasion where I've sat as the mayor, and I know you can see it forming where there is a 50-50 split, and I think, or there is this, councillors are still trying to formulate their ideas. And one example of that is probably the open spaces for the food vendors on the Queen Street waterfront. You could see them, well, from my point of view, you could see there was I wouldn't say reluctance, but they were still trying to formulate their ideas. And at that point, you have to be a little bit quick on your feet and put something up, because it can drift. So there's that sort of skill, and that's probably something I've learnt over the 3 years. And look, I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, because it's probably one I've still got to work on. Being open to different ideas, but also being you're more of a conductor when you're sitting in that role at the formal meeting stage. Outside of that, it's more, probably more hearing other views and actually trying to come up with ways of moving forward and just keeping that process going.
Okay.
That can take up a fair bit of your energy. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm just no, it's okay. I'm probably sharing my calendar to everybody. So just, there we go.
I can't see it, so it's all good.
So I guess that leads us on to, because this is about the kind of person behind the politics. So I've asked everybody about what role does ego play in politics. So when we think about global politics, we see quite a lot of egos. When we think about our national-based politics, we see quite a lot of egos. We also see personalities. Do you think that egos play a role? I mean, Cody's answer was quite good. He was like, if you stick your face on a sign, stick it all around town when you're campaigning, you've got an ego. So what role does ego play, and do you have an ego?
Why would you run for this role? You got to be fully aware. You got to have an ego to, as Cody said, chucking your face on a billboard it's one, it's not fun, but two, you got to have a certain level to actually do that. And look, everyone around that table has one because they've all got strong opinions because they wouldn't be there if they didn't.
And what does yours look like?
Oh, geez, I'd be probably a little bit forthcoming. I'll be quite. I can be quite direct, as you well know. That's probably more coming from a military and then a mining background. And that's probably something I've had to soften over the years. I haven't got there, but you just work through that. Breathe deeply sometimes, and look, that's. I think having strong opinions around that table is a good thing, and having good, healthy debate is a good thing.
So what does good governance look like then? Because a good, healthy debate is part of the deliberation process. It's part of good governance. What does good governance look like to you?
That healthy debate, but also being respectful in how you debate. And look, we all fray around the edges sometimes. Because people are passionate around that table. And but I think this council in particular, we didn't have drinks after in my councillor days, and we've done that a couple of times, which has been good. It's working out, and I don't think we actually nailed it this term, working out how we the ways we want to work with each other. I don't think we actually nailed that this term. Probably took us about 18 months to get into the swing of things, if I look back now. But
what do you think's made that a challenge then?
When I look back, I think when I first got in, I had obviously you're well aware, my partner had some medical issues, so I had to step away for a bit there. So that early stage, not being as upfront or part of the group there. So and then obviously we had 7 new councillors of the 12. So they were all finding their feet, finding their voice. And that's probably when I look back now, one of the little great things I've actually seen. I've seen like the likes of Cody, the likes of Gavin, really step up and actually start really contributing around the table. I think those two in particular have really found their voice, which is really good to see.
Okay, and to me, good governance, it looks a bit different in the private sector than it does in local authority. And I think it's it's a wash with issues actually in local government generally, not just in our region, in the sense that it's a little bit different than directors of a board in private sector. We have people from all walks of life, but good governance is about participation, transparency, accountability, and all of those aspects. And the kind of spirit of good governance is definitely around those values.
The other one is, sorry to interrupt, the other one I find, which was frustrating, is when we make a decision, get behind the decision, even if you weren't happy with that decision. And that's probably where local government in general lets itself down, where a professional board, once the decision's made, they get behind it.
So do you think that's more around consensus building?
No, I just feel, as you say, different walks of life, you're always going to have very strong opinions. My view is, if you want to go down consensus building, a 5-hour meeting will turn into a 10-hour meeting to a 20-hour meeting. You've still got to be able to make decisions. And look, if you have a look at the voting record over the last 3 years, the majority have been, I won't say the majority, but most, the majority have been all 11-1, 11-1, yeah.
Okay, I mean, some of the other conversations that I've had have brought up things like the casting vote. We don't really need to go into it. It's just been something that's obviously been touched on. And I put forward an amendment at the last meeting to suggest that, obviously I'm not going to be around the table next time, but to suggest that we change standing orders so that we could kind of relook at that. How do you feel as a facilitator in the chair's position, in the mayor's position, on those occasions where you've kind of you've had to use it because our standing orders suggest that we do, but of course we can change that.
It's not the most fun thing to do, obviously, but standing orders require me to do it. It's interesting. You make the debate's over, you do the vote. Oh, it's 6-6. I've got to do the casting vote, and then even under standing orders, I can't speak to it because the debate's over. So I'll make the casting vote, and then look, I've been challenged on that one, saying, "Oh, well, you didn't say why." It's just like, well, under the rules, I can't speak. So
we can change the rules, though.
Yeah, I know that.
And
but
do you think that's worth exploring?
I think it is. I think if the elected body would like an explanation behind it, yeah, I think that's a good thing. But
or changing it entirely so that we don't use a casting vote. I mean, all those things can be explored.
They have, and that was debated at the time, and the majority of councillors didn't go ahead with it. I still have the business of council still has to happen, and on those larger, more contentious votes, I still feel that a casting vote is needed. Because that's just my view. Look, if the council at the time wants to change that, they're more than entitled to do so.
Mm.
And it's a tough bar because you need 75% to change it.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
So we've kind of gone down a couple of rabbit holes there, but in terms of you, the person behind the politics, what kind of worldview do you lean on? So there's quite a wide question, and some people have found that quite hard, but I've kind of talked to a worldview or political theories that you kind of align with, and that doesn't mean I want to know how you vote. It just means you probably can guess some of my worldviews based on what I talk about. So I've repeated myself for any listeners here. So, for example, I think that looking after our environment is crucial to our economy. So I'm not actually interested just in the environment. I'm interested in our economy. And that's a worldview I hold. And I also think that ecological knowledge is useful for that, for example. And social equity and social justice are the spaces that I work within in my day job. Do you want to just let us know any of your background or any of your kind of worldviews that you bring to the table?
I would suggest your worldview changes as you get older and more experienced. When I think back to, my time in the Air Force, completely different to my time in the mining sector, and then as you move into as an engineer, and then moving into politics. Look, for me, the environment's important. I think we've done some great stuff in the last 3 years. We've got more to do. I think from my point of view, we're probably one of the most progressive councils in the country when it comes to climate change and our biodiversity and natural hazard work. Where I sit on that, look,
Mine was just my example of my worldview, but I'm interested in your worldview.
Yeah. So I'm supportive of that, but I'm also supportive of actually mum and dad being able to make a bit of coin and actually having enough disposable income to actually get Mary and Johnny to school and have a good life. And I think that has deteriorated ever since the '84 election, where we went to that market went full noise in the market economy. When I look at what happened at a national level during those post '87 and then into '91, where we just cut that safety net, and even like the Prime Minister at the time, Jim Bolger's even admitted that they went too far. They did. They went too far, and I think when you see that bifurcation of wealth that we're seeing globally, that is a scary thing. I think that's more of an issue and causing the instability we're seeing now in the world. Not just what you're seeing in Eastern Europe, but the actual social fabric of Western society.
So we're seeing
I think that's probably more of a challenge. And
massive financial inequity.
You're seeing that huge transfer of wealth, and it's only going in one direction, and it's only going to a select few. That's I think that's a real challenge that I don't know.
Local government, how does local government play a part in that, Glyn, then?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because as you well know, we're in a straitjacket of what we can do. And then when you see this government then deciding what our core responsibilities are, that concerns me, because all the stuff around funding community groups that do some really good stuff in this community, that's at risk now. When you see how we'll co-invest into, I know Queenstown Technology is a great one, where that's now on its own 2 feet and really starting to get some momentum. That wouldn't happen under these proposed new rules. Our COVID response, I think our COVID response when we were councillors was nothing short of amazing. But under the rules proposed at the moment, no, we don't have a place in welfare and social responsibility. It's all to the government.
I mean, yes and
housing,
no. Directly, we don't directly, I agree. And the reason that I ask those questions around our personal kind of worldviews and ideologies is because, we're going to bring our experiences and our worldview to the table, and they are going to align with certain things. And one of the reasons that I'm not standing again is because actually I really don't agree with some of the stuff that's coming through from central government with our coalition government, which you could argue there's more reason that I should be there if I feel that strongly about it. But I feel that much of what we have the ability to do is ineffectual, as you describe it. It's a straitjacket. But a lot of the things around the full well-beings and social justice, and some of those things can be affected through our policies and through legislation as well, albeit if it's a different legislation. It's just that it's challenging, but it's good to just understand kind of I guess how you view the world, because it tells people about your personal experiences and how you make decisions and deliberate on things if they can understand where you're coming from.
Look, I grew up pretty not well off at all. I think back to what my parents had to do to even just put food on the table. So I can understand the struggle. I've got 2 kids myself, and look, I've struggled as well. But for council to step into that space, it's very limited. We could, but one, under what we're seeing coming through, one, it'll be probably regarded as unlawful, and 2, we'll just get absolutely pillared by all the little ginger groups that want 0 to no rates. I think
from my point of view, I think the way that we uphold democracy is a way of ensuring that we create equity. So, and I think we can do that at local government level as much as is in our power to do so. So for me, that's a lever that we can utilise. to ensure that we're being equitable to people, because we want equitable access, right? So we don't want to drive elitism in any way. So I mean, for me, that would be an obvious way that we could do that.
But you've seen
and
do it. Yeah, and you've seen the whole trust in public institutions has deteriorated, and it's deteriorated significantly since COVID. But I go back to that whole wealth transfer since the mid-'80s to now. That has just been this creeping, slowly just atrophying that trust in public institutions. How you get that back is probably more is what you're saying is actually going back to how we did operate into the 70s and 60s and see why did that break down in the late 70s and early 80s, and seeing can we do things a little bit different. And I don't see, this is my own personal view, I don't see current political leaders, and I talk at the national level, being able to actually articulate the issue or even address it or provide solutions. And that's from both sides of the house, frankly. I have not, it's either or. From what I see, there is no real intellectual debate about how we really want to address those issues, because there is inequity in this country and we don't seem to want to address it.
Well, seemingly there's some people that do, but they want the status quo or to drive it further. But anyway, that's just my view. So we're coming to the end of our conversation, and there's possibly a couple of things that I just want to go back to. So firstly, I guess I want you to consider, to anybody listening, what are your parting kind of comments to them in terms of what can go right this time with you at the helm. So remember when I first framed this, I asked the question of what could possibly go right. And that was not just pure cynicism around local stuff. It was about the uncertainty of so many things that we deal with. So firstly, what could possibly go right with you at the helm?
I just rephrase it. I just want to put a plug out for local government. Local government is full of good people doing good things. And what can go right, I feel, is empowering those good people to do more good. I'm a big believer in local government and having politicians and local people close to their communities making decisions. I do get, the frustrating part in my role is a section of the community that just has very little knowledge or actual knowings of what is actually going on in local government. We're constrained by legislation, but some of the people that work in council do some amazing things, and they work so damn hard. I think that if we empower them, that's what can go right and make this place even better.
Okay. Well, and the question then is, how do you at the helm empower them?
Yeah, well, it's actually giving them agency to make those empowering them. Once we've made that strategic decision, let them do it.
Is that true for elected members as well? You feel the same way?
Let them do what they're employed to do. We set the strategic direction. We set the policy. Sometimes, and this is probably for candidates as well, you're not going to change the structure or change local government around in a year to 3 years because of legislation. But if you can empower the people that work there, they will do amazing things. And they will also actually deliver on the things you want to see delivered. And that's probably been a little bit of a struggle this term, is new councillors actually allowing those hard workers to actually do the stuff. And look, I reckon the regional deal, how they put that pitch together pretty quickly based on, let's say, 9 years of strategic work we did, while also bringing on board the ORC and the CODC in such a short time frame. Yeah, I thought that was an amazing effort. The work the liaison people on the climate change and biodiversity group, so passionate. So look, I think there's some amazing people and amazing things that happen within council.
Mm.
And it's good to be
So do
part of it.
Yeah. Definitely a big shout out to staff.
Yeah.
There's some very competent and hard workers.
And that's probably one of the drivers too, because you want to be involved in that. You really want to be involved in that. And look, I can understand your view and why you want to move on, but and it's good also to be self-aware that you've done your time, you've done your dash. What can I contribute more? Where does my passion lie? Where can I be more useful? And I think it's a great decision and a brave decision too. Like, I'll tell you now, I know this role has an expiry date. You won't see me trying to keep on doing this for I won't be a Tim Shadbolt or a Wayne Guppy, put it that way.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. There was some good stuff there touching on governance, how you think you can empower people, and what can go right. So yeah, best wishes for your campaign, and thanks for your time today.
And thank you, Esther, and go well in your new endeavours. What will you do with your time?
I know. Well, I'll be working in my day job.
Well, good.